Right.
To me.
To me.
We've been out a little bit.
Yeah.
It's my fault.
Yeah.
I've been sick.
You need to hydrate more. You need to have more turmeric in your diet, I think.
Ooh. Turmeric?
Yeah. I think you need to take better care of yourself generally.
That's, you're probably right. Probably right. I'm getting old. This cold took me out for a week. It sucked. But we watched some television.
Yes.
In particular, season 1, episode 6, Night of the 7/9 Kingdoms. Was that the joke at the end?
Nine kingdoms,
There
yes.
are actually 9 kingdoms?
There are 9 kingdoms. Do you know the discrepancy
I don't.
there?
Because it was 2 weeks ago that we watched this episode.
I'll tell you the discrepancy. Dorne is an extra one because it hasn't
like
always
Puerto Rico?
been in the fold. It's a little Puerto Rican. Yeah, it's a little Puerto Rican. And then the Iron Islands are normally in, I guess, the Riverlands, I think.
Okay.
But Egg split them off there. So those are your 2 extra kingdoms.
And then there were 9.
Yeah.
It was a good ep.
Good ep.
A little bit of a closer.
Great tradition of Game of Thrones, where the penultimate was the big battle, set piece, whatever, what have you. And then kind of a coda for the season finale. Wrapping things up, maybe setting the stage for next season, but mostly kind of tying up a lot of loose ends.
Yeah, we got some really good interactions with Egg's dad and our Dunk, our Sir Dunk the Tall. He got an amazing offer to go live at the king in the castle.
And train up Egg in the castle.
Yep, and he also takes some training of his own because he's clearly not very well trained tonight, at least in all combat of the normal type.
And presumably room and board.
Yeah, and some pay probably.
Yeah.
Probably some ladies.
Probably.
But he turned it down. And at the same time, he turned down being Egg Squire in general. He said he's done with princes.
Yes.
Which then he has to go talk to another prince.
Yeah, he wasn't all the way done with them.
No.
But he did not agree with the offer. He decided instead he wants to just wander the 9 kingdoms. Although at this point he still does think there's 7.
Yeah, and at first he doesn't want anything to do with Egg either. He's out of there.
Right.
He's done with the lies. He's done where it's led him. He now has his facade of the honorable tradition that is the knight is quite cracked with his experience and the death of who wasn't actually a good person for the kingdom.
And he was going to bring him on as a knight.
Yes.
And then unfortunately
he was excited
took
for that.
his hat
he was
on,
in then.
which was holding everything in place.
His hat was holding his brain.
And that was kind of the last straw there.
Yeah. And I thought that was very interesting because I feel like his hope was definitely at the highest. He had been brought back to there are just people out there and just people are rewarded, but instead it became sometimes the bad guys win, even though he won and he is in a better place. The kingdom is in a worse place, according to him, which I think is fair.
He is pretty beat up. I don't know if I'll just say absolutely.
He's not dead,
bar none. He's in a better place than when he started this whole adventure. He
has some fame. He has several offers.
He is almost killed by being healed with heated oil.
That is true.
He comes with just last minute advice to, hey, instead of oil, maybe use wine. I think it was.
Yep.
So even after the battle, he narrowly avoids.
I love how the maester was like, he's basically dead. There's nothing I can do.
Oh, everybody after that battle looked very suitably beat to hell.
Yeah.
That was kind of a cool wrinkle to the whole thing. Nobody's standing tall after the battle. Everybody's got war
Well, one of
wounds
them
or
was standing
limping.
tall,
And
if you know what I mean.
what do you mean? Expand on that.
I'm talking about our man. Why can't I remember his name now? Our Fossaway,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Raymond Fossaway,
Uh-huh.
or is Raymond Fossaway his cousin?
You talking about the green apple?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
of the Green Apple Fossaways.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I remember him.
He had sex.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
He got
Um,
laid
He did.
and married
Yep.
because he got her pregnant.
In just that quick
It's a
amount
boy
of time.
though. She can feel it. She can tell.
Um,
I love that story.
I thought it was great too. She may have hoodwinked him.
I think she definitely hoodwinked him.
She may have hoodwinked him.
But I think he is a willing participant in the hoodwinking.
Hoodwinkable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good for him.
I think he's happy with where he's at. Especially because he can pretend he got hoodwinked and really just be like, I'm married to this wonderful woman. I don't feel like the Baratheon was too bad. He definitely got beat up a little bit, but he seemed all right.
He was moving a little slow.
I loved his response because he obviously hates the Targaryens, and his response to Dunk being sad about the prince died. You know, he's like, he gave his life for you, and he's like, all of us did. Like, we actually had something to lose. Like, he really didn't even have anything to lose. He fought the King's Guard who were sworn to not kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And it was his brother that ended up killing him. But I thought that was all good. It was a great There was nothing major that happened other than Egg running away at the end, which was a nice comedic timing, which you would never have gotten in an actual Game of Thrones episode. You never would have left with a joke, a hollering off to where's my son? Where's Egg?
Do you think he let him go?
No.
Why not?
I think Egg tricked him just like he did at the beginning of the book, aka the beginning of the show.
He is the king, though. I mean, presumably he'd have the resources.
He's not the king. He's the.
Or the.
Isn't he the? He's the like. He would be the king, isn't he?
Either way, he's in a very powerful position. Egg doesn't have that big a head start on him. I wonder if he just kind of let him go because they do go
afterwards.
and have.
I don't think he's gonna put the kingdom's full weight behind finding him.
Yeah.
But I don't think he knew that Egg was gonna disappear.
Very.
But he also seems like this. He's so used to it that even if Egg did run away, he'd be like they probably lose him all the time, and he doesn't necessarily think he ran away. They think he's hiding somewhere, or he's playing some stupid game.
Probably keeping a closer eye on him right now.
That's probably true. They're doing it intelligently.
Couple of nice moments with that. One was Egg checking himself out in the mirror. He's getting his hair growing back, and you could
peach fuzz is coming back.
It's coming back, and I thought the actor did a really good job of communicating that he is at a crossroads and he can stay here, grow up Targaryen, and put his foolish little adventure behind him, or he can try and run off with Dunk. And I thought he really sold the gravity of that decision process in that scene.
Well, I mean, we did get the big scene where he went in to kill his brother, which was, I think, him like embracing his Targaryen nature, knowing that he's like, if this is where I'm gonna be and this is my life, then I'm gonna not even necessarily embrace it, but like I'm gonna make my situation as good as possible, and that means that my brother can't be alive.
Right.
Which obviously I don't know. Do you think he would have gone through with it if his dad hadn't been there?
I don't, but I think it's a fair question.
Yeah.
I think you can read it either way.
He had the knife. But I thought that was a pretty good moment. Because that was kind of the whole message of that episode, right? Is like, it's not like They even talk like Prince Darren. They says, Prince Darren wasn't this way when he was younger. Like he became this over time. Like, is every Targaryen bad, or is this kind of what happens like in this pressure cooker? Which, as we know, things don't actually go well for Egg in the long run.
Well, we'll get there later. But yeah, they don't.
I mean, they do go good for a long time, but then he echoes the Mad King, which off topic, but on topic. I've been listening to some good theories that Bran is responsible for all of the Targaryens going mad when he was messing around with time. And he's trying to convince them to fight the White Walkers ahead of time and burn everything. And they, he's able to like somewhat send messages, but they're broken and not very
and
well
it just
transcribed,
comes across
and
as
it comes
burn
across as
everything?
burn everyone.
That's interesting.
Which I thought that was kind of interesting that like it's possible in his like trying to save the future, he actually caused a whole lot of it, a little butterfly effect there. Don't know how true it is, but it's a fun theory.
Seems a little convoluted, but it also seems perfectly within the spirit of Martin's writing.
Yeah. Well, it's what's interesting to me is at this point, I mean, who knows what's in Martin's head, but I think there are people out there that are more educated on his own material than he is.
That's
on
possible.
What's
Yeah.
but I mean, it's his stuff, so whatever he wants is the reality of it. But I just think that's kind of funny. Any more notes?
I enjoyed it. Really, really good season. A lot lowered stakes, like we were talking about, compared to House of the Dragon, even though there ended up being some fairly big ramifications for our characters in Westeros as a whole. I thought it was wonderful.
It's just not as clear as in Game of Thrones. Like the stakes are presented to you in Game of Thrones, but the stakes of what's happening in the kingdom are just as large. You just don't really they're not as clear cut as like, if this happens, this guy wins. It's very much just like placing stones to get us where we'll be.
You have not read the other books, or have you?
I have.
You have? Oh, so you know
I know what's coming.
What's coming? Are they headed down Dornish way?
I don't. If I remember correctly, they don't go to Dorne after this.
Because that was the hint at the end of the episode that they were.
I'm gonna
going
have
down
to go
towards
back because I
Dorne.
feel like I've muddled all of it together. There's just 3 of them, if I remember correctly. And
That's all my local library has.
And I read them all at once as one book, basically. And by read, I mean listen to. So I'll probably go back through them again in the time that it'll take for the next season.
So it's muddling through your head like season 2 of Hijack?
Yep. Which is just an echo of season 1. But I want to take that transition, but I also want to get into it.
We'll fix it in post.
We'll fix it in post. Like I do any editing. I cut out silences sometimes, usually at the beginning. That's about all the editing I'll do. And I'll listen to about the first 15 minutes of it. Excited for season 2. As I recall in the books, like nothing, like we don't get to Egg getting older. So like the stories are very much more about Dunk than they are about Egg. And they're always told from his perspective. There's a lot of like, Dunk learning valuable lessons in it, but it's very light compared to what you get. Like there's obviously ramifications and bad things happen, but it's very light in like reference to what happens in one episode of Game of Thrones. But it will, what I'm more interested is to see what happens after those seasons. Cause I think we're going to get 2 and 3 relatively quick HBO style. And then it will be interesting to see what showrunners stick around and whether they're able to hold on to that, because I think writing more Dunk and Egg is a much easier task than trying to finish Game of Thrones.
I think Martin has 3 planned out that he hasn't written.
Yeah,
like,
but
I just an outline or something.
I think living in that world with outlines of those stories is just much easier than trying to tie all of, all of the mess that is woven in the beginning of Game of Thrones together. Like I think it's I have a much easier time thinking that this show will end well than the other one will, or not necessarily good, but like the show will end good, not the story will end well in a way that everyone's happy. But I think that
Well, it'd be easier to put a bow on this. They really could have put a bow on it at the end of that ep.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody would have been too
I mean, they
disappointed
did, if
with
you
the
think
ending.
about it. Like, this was very
spot.
much like a...
Very self-contained.
Yeah.
We should note, departure from the book, we learned definitively that
was not
Dunk
knighted.
is not knighted.
Yeah.
And in the novella, I believe it's left ambiguous.
It's left ambiguous, but it's pretty fucking obvious. Like, I would say it's all but written in stone. Again, I'll go back and go through them, but I think it's one of those, like, sure, we could argue about it because no one wrote it here, but it's like very well intended. It's, in my mind, less ambiguous than the end of what's our top spinny guy?
Inception?
Which is, I know, everyone's favorite ending to argue. I think it's pretty clear that he wasn't knighted, but that's supposed to be the whole
In
point.
Inception?
Yeah.
I don't remember that part.
Where they took the top and he put him over both his shoulders.
I think, here's my hot take on Inception. I think
Uh-oh.
I think the ending was a problem of editing.
It's very possible.
I think they
cut it too late.
They cut it too late. They lost the last couple
they cut
seconds.
it too early when they were supposed to show it falling.
Nolan had a definitive ending, and it was going to blow your mind.
Because that's definitely Christopher Nolan. He's definitely not involved in the editing.
And his big dumb editor had a little whoops-a-daisy.
Hijack Season 2, Episode 6.
Yeah.
Better ep? Things are getting more excited?
I don't know.
We had a death.
Mm-hmm.
Old lady died. Of getting trampled, kind of?
I was thinking about this during the ep. Not a ton of people have died.
Just 2.
I don't know. The show, I think, lacks a little bit of momentum and a little bit of stakes. And we've talked about how some of that is just, being on a train instead of an airplane, where there's so much more inherent danger. But I don't know. Do you think that they, knowing that we were going to get kind of the same plot, but in a much slower vehicle, do you think they should have ramped up
Why
the
did they do it on
violence
a
and the
high-speed
action
train?
and the deaths here? I mean, we've had,
We did get an explosion.
but that impacted no one.
Nobody.
Our guy had a little bit of a boo-boo on his head.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Actually, no, we have another death. We have the guy, the cop who went out for the wife is dead. The one who was in the Land Rover, he's dead, or the Range Rover. Yeah, I don't know if like action would be helpful. Sure. The reason the first season was so good was the tension. A lot of the time with the people, there isn't that tension. It would have been interesting on a high-speed train. Could you have made that more interesting?
That could have been more interesting. And it's not because we've grown attached to all of these secondary characters. You know what I mean?
In fact, the more I learn about them, the worse they all tend to get. Like the most mysterious character, the drug dealer, just became a stereotype at some point, and his ringleader moment's already over. The lady who was following him, who wanted to talk to him a couple of times, is kind of gotten boring. The CIA lady was kind of interesting, but now she's dead. The lady who's the nurse, I can't even tell if she's actually bad or pretending to be bad, or someone is also just like someone is taken hostage for her as well. In all honesty, the most compelling character in the show is the detective who's going around. The one who's on the streets. And I don't mean that because we don't know anything about him. He just keeps doing good detective work. So far, that's the part of the story that's happened the least that I'm the most interested, is just him doing the like groundwork and finding out the clues.
Yeah, I don't know. There hasn't been anything. There hasn't been any twist or anything that's been surprising to me that I've thought, oh, that totally rearranges how I've been thinking about the story, the characters.
Especially when I was talking about who it was that was talking to him in the bar, and it immediately is exactly who you think it is. There's no twist there at all, no misdirection, just like they showed him immediately afterwards, and then sure enough, yep, it's him. We didn't like lie about it. It is very straightforward.
It's and that we don't have to have twist upon twist, but we do have to have something. And I'm having trouble distinguishing episodes from other episodes. I know that this one started with the big explosion and ended with the gunshot, which is the same formula as the previous episode, which ended with the explosion. I was looking up today on IMDb. We talked about our IMDb grades for Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Why not talk about the IMDb grades for Hijack?
6.2.
Actually, that's right in the range. Season 1 went between an 8.1 and a 7.5.
Okay.
Pretty good.
Those are great.
Pretty good. The best episode on Hijack, the whole season is out now, despite us only talking about episode 6, because again, you won't drink any water. The best episode on Hijack season 2 is 6.5.
Okay.
A full point below the lowest rating of season 1.
That's pretty rough.
Yeah.
I think the key of it, like you're talking about, is that we're not learning anything new every episode. Like every episode of the first season, you were learning something, and something was building, and a piece of the mystery came together, and a piece of what was happening, and who was involved with everything came together. None of that's happening. In fact, where it's supposed to be happening with those spies in the background, that seems to be the most boring of the story. They're the most compelling actors, I think, in the show. Is that short British dude?
I still think Idris Elba is doing a good job acting, and I find him a charismatic on-screen performer.
But his whole thing is like his whole superpower that is shown in the like first 3 or 4 episodes of the first season, where he like negotiates what he wants about everything, and the whole plot of the end of like the last episode in that season, where even the hijacker realizes that like he's been like kind of playing all the pieces this entire time. None of that has been occurring in this one. He's just not had any sort of control over it at all, and he seems a little like helpless for no reason. He's like our superhero that, you know, like he's constantly has kryptonite in his pocket or something. But
yeah, it's just not coming together. I still think it could have worked as a 2-hour movie, but over the course of 8 eps, it's slugging.
Yeah. Did we find out? Have they already signed on for season 3?
That is a good question that I will take a look at later.
All right. Well, with that,
Stay gold.
stay gold, boy.